I'm going to be starting with a little bit about myself for some of you who doesn't know me. So I speak multiple languages, but the interesting story about me is that I didn't grow up actually learning those languages. So I actually started learning languages. I just started learning English, like maybe a lot of people here in Europe, and so basically I started learning English back in Russia, and then I didn't get any advantage when it came to learning Chinese or Korean or Japanese, but I ended up learning those languages using my own effort. So basically everything that I'm going to be sharing with you is coming from a person which didn't have any rich background. Like my parents didn't send me abroad to study, my parents didn't pay for expensive programs, my parents didn't pay for like one-on-one tutors when I was growing up. In fact, I had a friend who had all those one-on-one tutors. Like he had a Chinese tutor, he was from a rich family, he was traveling around the world. But oftentimes it ends up being that, I mean, people like me with no advantage growing up, just like hardly speaking English, get advantages by being in a disadvantaged position, which means that just the fire and just the desire to learn those languages actually brought me here. So my friend, my childhood friend, actually ended up not learning any of those languages that his parents wanted him to learn. So let me know if the connection is stable. I'll really appreciate it. And so today I'm going to be talking about the three phases of learning languages. If you want to check out my background, just Google Victor Talking. I think it's pretty, I mean, you can check out my videos. I would like to just say one distinguishing point, because you might be seeing a lot of polyglots online. I would like to just emphasize just a couple points about myself. So first one is I prefer to learn languages on the deepest level, and to connect with locals and to have conversations just like in my own native tongue, just like in Russian. So if I speak Chinese, I want to connect with a person and being able to speak like limitless hours, unlimited hours with that person, as opposed to some other people online that you might have seen that basically end up having just a few phrases, a few laughter, like a little bit of laughter and a little bit of English. So basically, if you watch like a 5 minute segment of that person supposedly speaking German, they actually drop just like a couple of phrases. Half of the phrases are in their own native language, and half of the phrases are in English, and half of it is just laughing and some bullshit. So, as opposed to me, I mean, you might be critiquing some of my videos, saying that a lot of dialogues actually repeat, but this is how it goes in real life. Like if I go to a Chinese restaurant, just another day, the other day, I just went to a Chinese restaurant, and I had the same conversation. The camera wasn't on. It's like, where are you from? How did you learn Chinese? Or like, if people are shocked that you speak their language, they are likely to ask these same questions, right? But it doesn't mean that the fluency isn't there. You can see that actually a lot of conversations go to absolutely different directions. Sometimes I discuss comedy skits with Chinese people. Sometimes I discuss their like short phrases, chongyu, like interesting slang, interesting dialect. So I prefer to connect with people on the deepest level in just a few languages, in the hardest languages in my case, as opposed to just like claiming to speak 10 plus languages, which I might end up doing, like maybe in 10 years from now. Maybe you'll see me like speaking 10 plus languages, and in half of them I'll be just like maybe B1. Maybe B1 is actually not bad, but people who I saw, they claim to speak 10 plus languages, they actually at best have A1 level in most of them. Anyways, back to the topic. So let me just address one of the comments here, so that you see that this is actually live. So this is not pre-recorded. Um, um, so somebody says, can you make 1 month of your app free? I'm from Belarus. Is there a realistic time frame to see if there is progress before paying? We are considering to include a free app experience in the onboarding before you join the app. To make it clear that we actually did have a free trial, maybe 1 week or 3 day free trial before, but we ended up not doing this because we realized that this is how we find our best users, and everything can change. Thanks for your feedback. You can also email us, and you can also submit your feedback. And if you feel like you went through the onboarding, you feel like you don't want to pay for something you haven't tried, this is a great feedback that we will definitely consider, and I definitely can relate to it. Anyways, so one thing I want to say is that, so how many languages do you speak? Somebody says, I do speak 5 languages, but I don't think it's about the number of languages. I think it's about the difficulty and the depth of, on how you actually can speak them, right? So my weakest language is Japanese, which is I'm studying N2, N1 level at this time, like at this point right now. So I'm like about intermediate level, but I can pretty much have like a lot of hours of conversations using sometimes translating some words, you know. So yeah, let's. But even if I just tell you like I speak only Chinese, I don't speak only Chinese, but even if I tell I speak only Chinese, that would be enough because I think that even if you learn just one language and it changes your life, who cares? Like you know, like it's not about showing numbers; it's about showing the results that you get and the conversations and the depth of connections that you have with people. You know. So, anyways, back to today's topic. So, three phases of learning languages. First of all, why do I talk about these three phases of learning languages? It's because many of you think that, and I started with talking about the disadvantage that I was in. Some people say that I have like a talent or predisposition to learn languages. But what I've noticed is that some people, just like me, they've never been to any English-speaking country, but they learned English and they have close to zero accent. But I still have an English accent, which means that I'm not like more talented than them when it comes to pronunciation. Every pronunciation, every language that I speak is above average. At least native speakers tell me that I sound really native in some situations or in some languages. But what I'm trying to say is that there are people who have great talent, but they never developed it above learning maybe just English, you know, or just one language or just something else. So when it comes to the talent, you can develop it. So that's the first thing. It's a scientifically proven principle that our brain is not static, it's flexible. You can check out the book which is called Bounce, the Myth of Talent and the Power of Practice on this topic. So write this down. You can buy it on Audible. It's a great book by one of the, I think, Olympic champions from England. Anyways, what I'm trying to say here is that these three phases are applicable to all of you. So even if you consider yourself to be at a disadvantage for any reason, whether it's a financial reason or you can't visit this country or you cannot, let's say, find time to learn, or you think that you're not talented, there are shortcomings or something that you think you have. So these three phases will help you. So the first phase that you need to actually it's through three phases and also like three goals, right? That you need to have in each of those phases. You will never hear. So this live stream is the very first thing that it's the very first time I'm sharing this. And these are the phases that I developed for myself when I'm learning languages. I'm planning to learn actually the European group of languages, which is Spanish, Italian, Portuguese. And these are the three phases that I ended up always using without realizing it. So the very first phase, when it comes to learning a language, I call it the point of no return, which I also call the conversational level. It's like a bare minimum that you learn at the very beginning during the first few months. By the way, Duolingo will not give you that, right? So if you use Duolingo for like years, don't even think it will teach you that. There are a few ways you can use it. You can use the way I do recommend is textbooks. It's hardcore, very hard to start with. I use practicing with AI. Right now we have Victor AI app that is helping me to learn. Honestly, I'm practicing. I tried learning a few languages with it, the ones that I don't even speak, such as Spanish or Portuguese. A couple dialects I learned from there, and now I'm focusing on Japanese for the next 60 days. And then I'm focusing back on Chinese in the app. And I'm also using textbooks as well. So the first phase, let's say you're starting, like I'm in Italy right now. Let's say you start learning Italian from scratch. The very first goal is not to give up during the first few months until you reach approximately A2 level. So when you can have a 10, 20, 30-minute conversation in this language, and at that point you'll realize that your conversations become a little bit more and more complex. But this is where most people give up. This is what I call the point of no return. Or also you can call it like a chasm, that you cross the chasm. It's like you're not, or you can even say like 0 to 1. So basically you go from not speaking this language to actually speaking this language. This is where most people give up. First of all, because they use wrong methods, not because there is something wrong with them, because they used like Duolingo or some bad textbooks. There are textbooks that claim to teach you the language in just one textbook, like this thick, right? So if you actually, I just bought a textbook for learning Spanish. Let me show you. So this type of textbook is good, by the way. If you guys are learning Spanish, this is what I bought. Not to promote it here, by the way. It's called Complete Spanish Step by Step. It's 600 pages. It's actually like a series of textbooks in one in one volume. So this one is good, but it brings you to like B1 level. So if you finish, let's say, textbook, like how this, like maybe you go to A2/B1 level. If you finish the whole thing, you definitely go to the point of no return. You need to just persevere. At this point, whatever you do, whatever works for you, whatever routine you use, whatever motivations, videos, time tracking, like challenge in the Victory AI, we have 60-day challenge that helps. So whatever you use to stay consistent, to remind yourself to study, you need to persevere for the first 2 to 3 months. I would even say, honestly, 2 to 4 months. 2 to 4 months. I know, like I used to run 3-month programs, coaching programs. I don't run them now myself, but basically, I used to say like in 3 months you can reach a conversational level. But what I noticed many of my students doing are actually they reach a little bit below the conversational level, the level that I called conversational, and it takes them like a month, like best students, but like best of the best, not everybody. It takes them like a month to reach actually close to conversational level. So it's like 4 months. The perfect time for me is 4 months. You can take all the knowledge and information for 3 months, but you won't be ready to speak. The even the conversational, like a little bit of fluency will not be there. You won't be able to speak on A2 or B1 level in a lot of languages, even in 3 months. But 4 months, you get really damn close. Actually, I noticed it with anyways. So this is the first thing that you need to do. So you need to target the point of no return, which is measured by A2 level or B1 level, where you're like, okay, so I'm either close to conversational or conversational in the language, right? So in Japanese, it would be N3 slash go into N2 level. In Korean, it would be topic 4. I remember I was having conversations and they're like, I ended up meeting like Korean teachers on the street, like, and they're like, are you on topic 4 level? I remember it was like many years ago. And I was like, how do you know? They were like, we're Korean teachers from Busan. I was like, how do you guys know? And at that time, I remember I was actually kind of learning topic 4. I was like 3, 4-ish, and they could see it. So it was many years ago. It was like, in 2019, I think, quite a few years ago. Somebody, I think, even sent some money to ask the question: will the app be available for Android devices? Okay, so let me answer this question because you took an effort. So yes, it will be available for Android. So let me explain, guys. Like, I know I don't ignore Android users. People like, why do you hate Android and stuff? After I answer this question, I'll go back to the phase 2 so that you don't lose on this whole topic. We are developing Victory AI for Android, but we're considering to first. 왜 웃어? We're first. 왜 날 보는 거야? 이거 나빴어. So we plan first to release Victory AI for web. So all of you guys who have Android, you'll be able to use it as a web app. Basically, you'll be able to use it in the browser. Dave is working on it right now, and we just decided to use web is because, first of all, it's an additional benefit for people who already subscribed and paid for the app. So we want to just stack the benefits for them so that they can use their laptop at the university to actually study with the app fully, right? Second reason is all the Android people will be able to also do it, right? And the third reason is Android is not as easy as you guys think. I know, like a lot of you guys, like there is AI right now. They can help you just like translate your app to Android. Whatever you guys say, it's not as easy as you might think, right? So just keep that in mind. Like smart people understand. Like whatever, like if it looks easy, it doesn't mean that it's easy to do, right? So it's not easy to do. We're just a team of 2 people with no investors, no rich parents. Actually, our users are our investors. So if you're choosing to become a part of our tribe, just know that your money go to the development of our whole system and of our whole app, and like it helps us to spend and help more people just like you to actually start learning languages. Okay, so not to advertise it here because I'm talking about the 3 phases, right? So what is the second phase? The second phase is okay, so let me go through. Is AI actually reliable for language checking and learning? So I want to just finish on these 3 phases and I'll answer this. Let me answer this question first and I'll just proceed. Yes, it is reliable. So let me give you an example. How I was go. I cannot tell you that other AI systems are reliable. If you just talk to Gemini or ChatGPT, it will be complete shit. It does not work. It doesn't correct you. But if you're using Victory AI, it will actually correct you. No, again, because I'm using it. So, for example, let me give you an example. So we have a dialogue where there are different particles in Japanese, right? There is wa and ga particle, right? It's very simple. I accidentally said wa instead of ga. In some places, it's a mistake, by the way. And the AI just caught it. So there was a lesson about the convenience store, and I said wa instead of ga, and it just caught it and said you need to say ga. So try our rap, you know. Um, Let me see. So guys, I'm sorry. I have to actually ban some people because I see that there is, not because I don't like them personally, but because it just takes away the energy, right? Like from the actual productive conversations here. Um uh okay, so let's talk about the second phase. Let's talk about the second phase. It's crazy how like you just unlist one person and they create so much negativity. It's like half of the chat. It's just like you scroll it and like there are no negative comments except for that one person who is just unlisted. Anyways, share positive energy, right? So if you share negative energy, you share it with yourself first of all, right? Okay, so the second phase of learning language. So what was the first phase? The first phase was the point of no return, and the second phase of learning languages is absolutely mind blowing, and this is related to reaching fluency in the language, which I call vacuuming. So you create a vacuum around yourself and you don't use English at all or any other language. If you're Russian, don't use Russian. So if you're learning Chinese, so you speak only Chinese. If you're learning Korean, you speak only Korean. If you learn Japanese, you speak only Japanese. And it's easier said than done, because if you're in a relationship with a person, you just slip back to speaking English or any language that they understand except for the language that you're learning, because you want to save the relationship. If you're in a friendship, the same thing happens. If you're in a public place, you're afraid to be laughed at, to just maybe be a little bit weird, and you end up speaking English instead of speaking, let's say, Italian in Italy or Spanish in Spain or Chinese in China, or whatever. So it's very hard to do, but this it requires a lot of hardcore leverage on your psychology, right? So I honestly went through this process in China when I was learning Chinese, and I went through this process with Korean. I also went through this process in China as well. There are not as many Korean natives in China, but I had a lot of friends when I was in China who are Koreans, right? And I would speak to them only in Korean. Sometimes I would speak Chinese a little bit when I just couldn't get my point across at all. But most of the time, I would still be pushing myself to speak only the language. People think that I'm an extrovert. That's why it's so easy for me to actually go out and speak Chinese only, or Korean only, or Japanese only. I don't think that I'm an extrovert. I think I'm also an introvert, but there are things that I have to like. There are just some situations where I really enjoy speaking, but most of the situations in public places, I'm not really talkative and don't really vibe as much as you guys think. I don't really like small talks. I don't really like. I feel a little bit burdened when like in Europe, they're like, "Hey, how are you?" Like I don't know how to answer that, right? So at that part, maybe I'm a little bit autistic, or like I don't know. I would say autistic. I would say middle. I would say like it's like Eastern Europe vibes, right? It's like you don't know how to respond. Like, "How are you?" And you say, "How are you?" Or you say, "Good," and you, and like, what the hell, It's like. Anyways, that's the thing. So the first phase is point of no return. This is where most people give up. You use textbooks and you practice with AI. Try Victory AI again. The second phase is vacuum. It's when you completely get rid of your language. At A2, B1 level, you can do that, right? And this is when you all of a sudden, by the way, the vacuuming phase is when you ask, for example, you don't understand the word, you can ask the native speaker, what does this word mean, and the native speaker explains this back to you in the language, right? So in the language that you're learning. So, and this is where you get fluent. So this is phase number 2. And the phase number 3 is called native fluency. And the phase number 3 is related to kind of switching your brain a little bit. I would say a lot. Is when you start seeing dreams in the foreign languages, when everything you consume, the media, the movies, the books, everything is in that language. And some of the people online that you might mention that have extremely native level, even though they might have a little bit of an accent, which doesn't really matter, honestly, they sound extremely native, and the expressions and the words that they know are close or even more than the vocabulary of native speakers themselves. So there are a lot of people, and all of those people, they mostly focus on one language. So it's not just like polyglot who speaks like 10 plus languages, that kind of bullshit. It's the guy who speaks maybe a couple languages, but one of those, like one language that they speak, they focused on for like 10 years, immersing. You can check out the input method or the massive exposure effect. Right now, popular on YouTube, it's called the input method, right? When everything you consume for years, like for example, if you learn Japanese, you watch like animes or Japanese TV shows. If you're learning Chinese, you watch Chinese dramas for Korean dramas or Korean movies and stuff. Whatever you're interested in, you immerse for a lot of years and you vacuum like crazy. So you don't speak your native tongue, you immerse as much as you can, and this is when you reach a native level. The sad truth is that, not the sad truth, but I would say, yeah, let me share the sad truth. The sad truth is that if you're not in the environment of, like, if you're not actually living in the country, it's kind of hard to reach it like native fluency really fast, like to reach level 3 really fast. It's extremely hard. But if you live outside the country, it will just take you so many years. But if you live right on, like for example, if you learn Japanese and you live in Japan for years and you only immerse in Japanese, it might take you a couple of years to reach very impressive level, right? And the person just like you who live in the US and who learn Japanese, but they're not in Japan, not immersing just like you, immersing but not as much, they will be much slower, right? So that's the sad truth. But it's not an excuse to not to like there are a lot of people. I mean, I learned Korean on the conversational level. I was, let's say, lower intermediate level, conversational level before I came here, before I started living in Korea. I've been living in Korea for 6 years. So let me sum it up and then I'll answer some of your questions. So the first thing, again, the 3 phases of mastering languages that all of you guys should use. The first phase is, if you just started out, is not to give up and to persevere till A2/B1 level when you can speak the language. This is your first win. This is when you get the winner effect, right? So it's called the point of no return. Phase number 1 is called the point of no return. Phase number 2 is called vacuum phase, or vacuuming, or whatever, right? So vacuum phase is when you don't speak English. I also call it in one of my courses, I call it burning the bridges, right? When you burn the bridges, you're like, I'll sacrifice everything, but I will learn the language on the level that will, because here's the thing, like, even if you're like, let me save some kind of situation, save my face, and switch back to English, right? When you're speaking Japanese and person doesn't understand. Here's the thing, you prioritize a short-term benefit over the long-term benefit, because in this particular moment and situation, you will save, it will be easier for you to navigate in English, but if you don't do it now, and if you actually keep speaking the target language, Japanese or Chinese, in the long term, you'll be able to connect with that same person on a much deeper level. You see, like, let's say you don't give up, and then it's so hard to solve so many problems in the language. In 1 year from now, you become so native and so creative that you'll be able to connect with that. Your vocabulary goes up, grammar goes up, because if you push yourself against the wall all the time, your brain will be like a sponge. It's like it will automatically soak up all the information that you see, like words and this and that. So for example, like let's say you try to explain something, but the word does not appear in your brain, right? And you're like, oh, what's that word? And then when you learn with the textbook or the app, Victory app, quick ad, you're like, oh, I know it. Like, I really needed this word, and you just memorize it in a second, right? So you create the need first, and then you learn. It's called in my method, I call it pre-testing. Pre-testing is not my term, by the way. You can check out the book which is called How We Learn. Pretesting is an actually there is a scientific paper called the pretesting effect. So you can check out the pretesting is like there are groups of students. Wait. There are two groups of students. So the first group of student is was given just a test before they learned the material, and the second group of students they just learned the material, and both of the groups they took a final exam, right? And the group of students which were pre-tested, they actually did much better on the final exam because before they learned the material they were questioned about this material. It's a subconscious thing. It's like they ask you a question, then they teach you, and then basically you memorize much better. So that's why you need to create this vacuum effect, the need to learn, you need to go through like burning the bridges, uncomfortable situations, stuff like that. Somebody send the money again so that I can answer the questions. Okay, so what kind of membership will there be for the app? So the app is already out there, right? So if you have an iPhone, you can download it. We have monthly plan and a yearly plan, right? So and at the very beginning, I recommend to enroll in my 60-day challenge. I see a lot of people asking for the like about the app, which is really interesting. I mean, thank you guys. I didn't mean to like advertise it here. It was supposed to be only about the content, but since you ask, I'll just answer all of those questions. So, and the third phase, right? Summarizing the whole topic here, the third phase is called the native fluency phase, or getting native, becoming native, right? And you can just take a note that it's related to the input method, and basically in every single information that you can like all the information that you consume in this language, you only sorry, all the information that you consume, you only consume in this language, right? You only consume in this language for years, and it's like it's completely burning the bridges. It's like you start. So what are the symptoms of it? You start seeing dreams in this language. You start thinking in this language. So for example, what kind of thoughts? Like it starts with simple thoughts. For example, you want to go to the toilet, and you're like, I remember I was in China. I was like, 我想去厕所, and I was like, oh. It was like I was thinking about 我想去洗手间. Like I was thinking in Chinese, like I want to go to the toilet, right? It's just a simple thoughts and dreams in this language is when you, because people ask me like, Victor, what is the language you're thinking? And the answer, if you want to know the answer to the question of what's the language that the person thinks in, it's going to be always his native tongue and the language that they speak the most. Or two, like I speak the most Korean and English, and my native tongue is Russian. So I think in 3 languages. But I would say maybe I think, and also what's the language that you consume the most information in, right? And I also see dreams in all 5 languages, by the way. Like in Chinese and Korean and Japanese, I build the sentences, I have dialogues and stuff. So it sounds like it's crazy, but it's having dreams in the language is actually nothing special. I mean, it's just, you just have a situation where in the dream you have a Japanese, like you're checking at the Japanese hotel and you're just like, hey, here's my name, like here's my passport, and they talk to you. It's just a very simple situation, right? Dreaming in the foreign language is not. It just shows that you're pretty deep in it. It's like it's a good sign. Okay, so let me go through some of the questions here that I see that are related to the topic. Victor, how well do you write Chinese characters? I just learned Putonghua and I speak pretty well, but I'm not really focused on writing. I just try to memorize characters to be able to read at least. So I was writing a lot at the very beginning of my Chinese learning journey. And it just, I would say you need to learn how to write. You need to learn how to write. But in this modern age, it actually doesn't matter as much. I would just say it just helps you to memorize them better, to understand like the sequence of strokes, how they're structured, right? So that they don't seem to you like completely random strokes. At the very beginning, for example, when you learn A1, A2 level, I do recommend to write. There is like a list of characters that you learn from every lesson if you're using the Hanyu Jiaocheng textbooks, right? Write all of them, just one line, learn how to write, and just don't obsess over it. I had a very, very big mistake at the very beginning of my Chinese learning journey. I was writing for 2 hours thinking that just writing characters every day would magically help me to learn the language. I was zero in speaking. But fortunately, it actually helped me because when I went to China, I was placed in a lower intermediate group, like the very first group where I was studying Chinese in China. It wasn't the lowest level, which I was wow. So and the thanks for learning writing because they had a writing test where you would just write the sentences and stuff. So and I would write essays. We would even write essays about economics. So yeah, I wasn't too good and I wasn't too bad, let's say. But now I don't write. I don't write characters except for my own name. I just type, right? So now these days you just type on the phone. Same for Japanese. Man, like doesn't like I learned writing. It doesn't really matter these days, honestly. So somebody says 4 week Chinese course in Hagunda. I would just say lower your expectations because Hagunda became not as good as before. When I was studying there and you go there now, it's just a different university pretty much. They like most of the Chinese teachers quit and the quality of the program went down. So it just depends on you how like you can still learn there and you can take a lot because it's immersion. But what I used to say when I was in China and after China is classes do matter, but what matters the most is what you do after classes if you're in China, right? So normally in China you have classes from 8 a.m. to like 12 p.m., right? And most of the people they would just go to the dormitory and just hang out with their foreigner friends, right? And what I was doing is I will just go out and interact with Chinese people 24/7. That's why I'm like I became close, like pretty much conversational fluent in Chinese after 4 months in China. Sounds like some crazy story, but the background of it is like I learned Chinese for 1 year before it, like by myself, and I had some classes at the university in Russia, and it was really hard at the very beginning. I was like zero, like just knowledge, just theory, but when I went to China, I started applying this vacuuming method, right? I reached this the point of no return after like a month in China, and then I vacuumed for like 3 months, and they became so good, like really good, but not fully fluent. Not fully fluent. It would take me like one more semester to become very good in a lot of different things, and I took HSK 5 exam after just 2 semesters in Hagunda, and it wasn't even 1 year because it was in total it was like about 8 months, just like studying there, and then I took HSK 5. It was in 2000. 2018. 2018. It's 8 years ago. And I know the guy who actually didn't learn how to write, but he had to learn how to write. But his speaking was okay. Um, you don't have to obsess over writing. If you still memorize characters pretty well, and like let's say thousands of characters already, and you're like, I cannot write, forget about it, man. Don't bother. Like if you don't like, because why would you write? Like these days, what's the situation where you would go out and write? Like if you live in China, there is literally no situation where you would write. I don't even remember writing my name. I learned Korean, I applied your method, finished 8 textbooks, talked to natives for hours, did massive exposure, followed all of your principles exactly. Greetings from Germany. Um, this is hard to believe, man. This is crazy. If you actually did that, it means that you're like top 1% because it's the hardest thing to do. So if you finish 8 textbooks, if you finish Yonsei 1, Yonsei 2, and then basically you finished 1-1 to 1-2, 2-1, 2-2, 3-1, 3-2, it would be 6. 4-1, 4-2. That's actually enough knowledge to get fluent. That's actually enough knowledge to get fluent because it's topic 4 level. If you finish like Yonsei textbooks, that's great. Um, Do you think that the teacher self-complete is a good source for learning language? I'm learning Russian, Japanese, and Greek with this brand of books. I've never heard of this brand of books. If you want to choose this series of textbooks, make sure that they're structured in a way that it actually tells you. Ask AI, for example, what's the level that this series of textbooks will bring me to. If it's just A1, it's just a waste of time. That's why Duolingo is just a piece of shit. It's because it's just like the maximum gives you like A2 level in like the easiest language, after like years. So it's not like I'm talking. I know that you guys probably know that Duolingo is not work. Um, Sorry, I just let me. Yeah, you gotta tell me if you're a cop with that haircut. Um, I've been here for like a few weeks, so I couldn't have a hair. I decided not to have a haircut in Europe. Um, okay, so that's an interesting question for some of you to actually listen. Can you talk a bit about why you didn't end up staying in China and why you chose Korea over Japan or China? Okay, so I'll try to sound like, let's say I'll try to sound unfiltered here, right? Unfiltered. Korea is the best country in the world for living in terms of many things. And I honestly think that Korea, China, and this is after I visited three European countries. I've been to Portugal, Spain, and Italy, right? And the beautiful places and stuff. So now I have a little bit more of understanding of the world. These are the beautiful places, but man, Korea is the best country in the world. This is what Dave used to say also. Always, he says it always. Like he says, man, Korea is the best. And he's been to all countries, man. Like he's from the US, so he's been to all the European countries, most of them, I guess. He lived in Europe for a long time. He lived in China. He's been to Japan, and he lived in Korea too. So, Korea is the best country in the world, but you need to understand why it is so, right? So, I'm not saying work at a Korean company is the best. Like if you work at a Korean company, you wouldn't get the best life. But if you're not working at a Korean company, but you work as a digital entrepreneur, you work online, and you just stay in Korea on a visa, right? That could be the best experience that you've ever had. So first of all, Korea has the best food quality that I've ever seen. The most the healthiest food on the planet. Korean barbecues, Korean meat, Korean beef. Check out Hanu beef. It's like Hanu beef is the most delicious beef on the planet. The most delicious. Japanese food is very greasy and you cannot really eat out as much. It's just impossible. Japanese food isn't healthy. Chinese food also isn't healthy. I lived in China for 3 years. I've never seen healthy Chinese food for my whole life. I've never seen be like Chinese people like eating like raw vegetables with like meat, which is not in oil. And I traveled to southern cities, to different cities in China. Chinese food is extremely delicious. Don't get me wrong. And you can get healthy food in China if you cook by yourself or you shop in like special restaurants. But Korean food, like, I mean, for example, there like in almost in every restaurant in Korea, you can buy just a thing which is you can buy for example, kimbap, bibimbap. You can go to a Korean barbecue restaurant. And also, why it's the best is because which is called in Korean kasombi, like the ratio of quality versus price is the best, absolutely the best in Korea. And like, don't get. I mean, some people will be like, no, China is the best. No, Japan is the best. No, some other country is the best. Don't get it personally, right? Whatever the answer, whether it satisfies you or doesn't, just live for a while in those countries and let me know how your body works with it. Like, do you exercise, right? Do you work out? Do you care about protein? Do you healthy protein? Do you care about the food safety? Do you care about like Korea, for example? You go to a Korean restaurant, they have free water. In Europe, I would spend so much money on water, like hundreds of dollars on water over like the past month. Three countries, hundreds of dollars of water. It's like, what the hell, dude? Um, then it's like free vegetable, like they give free vegetables, like free side dishes. They just unlimited. buffet. You go to a restaurant, like most of them have it. Kimchi, it's extremely healthy. Food, kimchi, all that food, and then extremely protein based. Like every single thing in Korea is protein. You go to a convenience store, you see protein everywhere. You can stay healthy in Korea, but just even by going to convenience stores which are open 24/7. You can buy chicken breast in a convenience store. The most unhealthiest thing it will have a little bit of sodium because they just add salt. And you can buy kimchi. You can, like, a little bit of kimchi. You can buy this chicken breast. You can eat at a convenience store, healthy, like mostly healthy. It's like, dude, there is no country you can do that. There is no country you go to a convenience store and it's like there's so much health. Everything is protein. Everything is healthy protein. Korean beef is the highest quality. It's very expensive. It's not expensive, but it's not expensive. You can have the whole table of beef for 3 people for like less than $100. It's like you can eat like unlimited beef, basically, like the highest quality beef. When it comes to the culture and people, I know a lot of people are critiquing Korea about like being racist and stuff. First of all, I'm not coming from the best country in the world. 어디 가시지?
이제 가야 돼.
나 지금
3시에 식당들 다 닫아.
나 지금 좀 10분 정도 급비래. So if you are 잠깐만, 내가 어떤 말 하고 있었지? beef에 대해서?
아니, chicken breast.
Chicken breast. Guys, I forgot what I was talking about. So, and also, by the way, like I went to a couple of beaches here, right? Like I've been to Mallorca, I've been to Positano, right? And I looked at the guys around. Everybody's kind of overweight a little bit. Like I don't want to be like, hey, Europe is like, but dude, if you go to Korea, like sometimes you would think that you're just in some kind of fitness competition type of situation where it's like guys with like perfect body, like you're like, what the hell is going on? Like come to Korea, come to like how's it called? Yangyang Beach, like come to Gangneung, come to like Busan. You'll see Korean guys, like body of Korean guys, and you see the body of European guys, and you'll be like, dude, like, and so it's like the competition is high everywhere. Everything is a high standard. You come like in Europe here, like people mostly drive very old and like very small cars. In Korea, bro, they update taxis for the most like 2025 models. It's like, and Korean cars are becoming better and better. Honestly, I think kind of the best in the world, maybe. Like, I don't know, like Korean cars are so good, much better quality than Japanese cars, because I tried both and you cannot compare really. So, but this is just my subjective opinion after living in Korea for 6 years. I'm a big fan of this country. It's the best in the world. Everybody who comes, they're like, yeah, I know. But some of the so let me be objective here, right? So some of the how should I say, like the negatives, right? Let me tell about the negatives so that you understand that I'm not just talking negatives about Europe or China or other countries and not talking any negatives about Korea. So you need to understand Korean culture and you need to learn Korean language, right? If you don't understand Korean culture, you don't learn Korean language, you will be kind of an outsider more than in other countries. So for example, if you go to, I don't know, maybe Japan and China is the same. I think it's the same. But in Asia, it's like if you don't speak the language, you'll be hanging out with people who speak only English, and Koreans who speak good English, they are not really as much Koreans, you know what I mean? Like for example, you date girls, like Korean girls who speak perfect English, who are from like Ihwa University. Many of them will be like feminists or like very weird, and the boy. And so it's like you'll see that a lot of people who speak like fluent English in Korea, they're a little bit not like Koreans. They're a little bit more like overseas Koreans, So 아니 왜 이래? 나 지금 하고 있어 왜?
언제가?
지금 10분. So this is the thing, and Korea has this obsession with the rules of their culture. So sometimes you're like, no, it's not good to say this. It's not good to joke like this. This obsession. Like we are like this is the right thing. It's in our country. It's the rightest thing to do. So you need to follow it, right? So so what I've been sometimes struggling with is just those stupid rules of 아니 그러니까 어떻게 내가 어디서 앉아야 안 움직일까? 어? 어디서 앉아야 돼?
이렇게.
그러니까 어디서 앉아야 돼 근데?
너무 추워.
Okay, guys, let me take a couple of questions and I have to go. I just finished my workout. Right now, I'm gonna just a quick workout that I do at the hotel, just literally on the floor. You don't need no gym. I did 3 sets of shadow boxing, 3 sets of push-ups, 6 sets of abs exercises, and 3 sets of squats. Right? When I'm traveling, this is the thing that I'm doing, and the reason why is because I count how many days I exercise every month. For the whole month I was traveling, I still was able to do about twice a week of exercises, either at the gym, like sometimes the hotel has a gym, sometimes it doesn't matter, you can still exercise, right? Do you eat a lot of protein, exercise, and you won't look like most of the European dudes here in Italy or Portugal or Spain. What do you think about the loneliness in Korea? Is it their choice or cultural? I don't know, man. Like when I couldn't speak Korean, I felt lonely. When I could speak Korean, I felt like I could just meet people. I mean, how did I end up meeting like people in Korea? I just approached them, So, but when you speak Korean, you're like a superstar, So that's the thing. And the loneliness, I don't know. Like for Korean people themselves, there are so many things you can do. Like you can join different activity clubs. Like for example, different hobby related clubs like sport, like you could go do some sports, so loneliness, I would say loneliness is a choice. It's not the default. Everything like loneliness, it's like, oh my god, it's like it's a choice. But I did definitely felt lonely when I couldn't speak Korean, so that's just a part of the of learning, right? So at the very beginning, you just feel like, oh my god, like this society is so different, right? So I cannot talk to them. 자기야 여기 가만히 좀 있으면 안 돼? 그냥 좀 10분 기다려주면 안 돼? 어? 좀 저기 가면 안 돼? 10분만. 나 그냥 질문만 답하고 그냥 갈게. Other Japanese cafe in Korea? Not sure. I really don't know. I don't think so. Where are you now? I'm in Italy. Victor, could you please tell me the correct way to learn particles in Korean, or is it better to just learn the words in context? You need to learn the grammar first and focus on grammar first more than you even focus on words. And the correct way to learn the particles is try Yonsei textbook with Yonsei workbooks. So you need to do a lot of exercises. So in Korean, iga particle, unnin particle, ulul particle, all those particles, right? This is extremely important. Korea's suicide rate is as insane as other countries. So I think Russia was higher than Korea even. What do you feel like using Omi TV for learning a language? Or can I would use all of them, like Omi TV and AI. So the way how we have it done in Victoria is that you don't just talk, you get corrected, and you practice structured lessons. It's not just you just like talk, It's and also you need to understand like the difference between structured and unstructured practice. And like the unstructured practice when you just talk to native speakers without any feedback, right? But the best way to learn the language at the very beginning is to get as much feedback as possible and to practice actual native sentences and mimic native pronunciation. please learn Portuguese. Um, I actually will learn Portuguese. Yeah, I plan to learn. I was really inspired. Um, I really liked Portugal. Yeah, I really like Portugal. So 자기야, 뭐해? Okay, guys, I need to. Okay, guys, I need to go. I need to go. 뭐야? See you. I think maybe next live stream will be from Korea.